And welcome to episode 14 of the Talking Tactical podcast. Tonight we have a four-person show, so we are joined by returning guest Jarvis, aka Mr. NeroWulf. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
We also have first-time guest Ben, aka Snapshot.
Hi.
And Jamie is rounding off the guest pool, who is a head ref at Sector 57. Jamie's attempted to be on the shows before, and life got in the way. AAK,
Hello.
bad computer.
I don't have a nickname, sorry.
Nah, you're Jamie. Enough said. You're Golden Locks. There we go.
Yep.
Yes.
All right,
That's
so
an understatement.
yeah. He puts the Vikings to shame. It's all good.
I need some of that.
Well, I mean, if you could grow your hair out, like if everyone could grow their hair out, Armadillo would go to business in like 2 days.
This is true, and their new stuff actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Snapshot's already getting shout-outs in the comments from Nate.
That's love.
Aw. Aw, it's almost like he picks on you whenever he comes to Ontario.
Love you too, Nate.
All right, so tonight we're going to be talking paintball, of course, as general. We're also going to be talking about the mini-event Dynasty from Sector 57. That was last weekend. I think it was 2 weekends ago, but it was last weekend. Unfortunately, due to the long weekend, I couldn't make the show that night, so 3 weeks, but whatever. So everyone here was at the event, so let's start off backtracking, though, and start paintball first. So, Snapshot, off to you. When did you start paintballing?
So I think I got into it about 5-ish years ago. I was in grade, give or take.
So you were 11?
I think so. I was in grade 7. That's all I remember.
He's the baby of the group.
Yeah, I actually got into it. Funny enough, my friend introduced me to the show Big Bang Theory, and then from that, I actually saw their paintball episodes, and I was like, man, I want to go do this. And here I am now.
Well, we're glad that you did, because your nickname Snapshot comes from your photography, because you do that a little bit. You also get bullied around at Widowmaker a little bit, because you are, what is it, what's the high school thing that you do? I completely.
It's like a co-op program.
There we go, co-oping. So that'll be fun. Co-oping as in working, not co-oping as in growing weed. What are you talking about? That was a dirty joke. So Jamie, you're a little bit different. You go into your paintball history / marker history, because that is a different show that's going to be coming up.
That's huge. That's going to be long.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that, but like I started playing in 2008, so like not that long ago, honestly, in the scope of things, and I don't know, I played a lot of woods ball. I kind of got into it just because I wanted to shoot people in the woods, and nothing has changed 10 years later. It's still all I want to do.
People hunting's always fun.
Yeah, I kind of have an affinity for classic guns or just stuff that keeps working forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a kind of interesting collection, but that's for another day.
Another day, another dollar. And Mr. NeroWulf, a.k.a. Jarvis, welcome back.
Hey, how's it going?
So, what have you been hitting up the field lately with? Because we saw you have like a smorgasbord of markers sector.
Yeah.
Well, no, I only have the two major ones. I've got the SMG M17 and then my TPX. But I pulled out my Phenom for the first time in a while because, yeah, I needed a hopper that day,
Well, it's Sector. You have to use a Phenom.
Exactly.
and it was really reliable. It was good,
Nah, that's good.
and I had to crank up the FPS, and it's
Things happened. Stuff was
Yeah.
done.
it was fun.
Oh, good. All right, guys, so let's start talking about the event. So I was the organizer, so feel free to bash me as much as you possibly want to do. So we did start a little bit late. It was a little bit different than I think some people were thinking of. So going into it, what were you guys expecting? Because
Nope.
Go ahead.
I honestly went in there with no expectations. I don't really know Sector 57 that well, so the field was a complete mystery for the most part. But I had no expectations, but you blew me away. It was great. It was well organized. You started on time. You started your games, and it went well. But
So Ben, you were at the ones last year. So how did you find the 2017 series versus the 2016?
I think I only went to 2 of them because I did. Actually, no, I went to 3 of them because I did media for 1, and then I came with a buddy of mine. I did like this one a lot better with the whole added team that we got going. So I did quite enjoy that. I can't say how it was from the other team's point of views, but other than that, I think they were a large improvement with just the scenarios and all that.
Awesome. And Jamie, you were at everyone. You've helped me in the off season build these in general. So how did you think we did for the first event?
Pretty good. I mean, like, I'll be honest, the mini scenarios are probably like the easiest days ever for me because I don't have to think. I just have to like sit back and make sure people don't actually hurt each other for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I only have to do half my job because you're doing the other half for once. So that's kind of nice.
So
And like, I think the other thing is I'm kind of just watching you progress through all of the same mistakes I used to make when I started reffing in a lot of ways, and it's kind of interesting because you're figuring it out and you're making better games than you did at the start now. Like, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest one, because one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it was to inspire people. Like, go out, make a simple game. Don't think you have to do all day PRZ events. Just 3 fun missions at your local field that you think would be cool, and that's definitely something that I've done. So let's talk into it. So when we hit the field, we did a unique thing where we used a neutral faction, but I am partially biased, but I think it's probably the best way I've ever seen a neutral faction used, because what we did was I pre-assigned the 4 players to either one of the 2 teams, and myself as a neutral faction, I simply was taken out of the game, so I didn't create a partial imbalance, and I knew other objectives later on. So I liked that because we were there for resistance, but we weren't there to be constantly an effect, and I wanted the other players to take over the field. I use us kind of as a deterrent from somebody just running in and gunning. So, Jarvis, I know you had a lot of fun with it because we were put into some interesting positions. So, walk me through how you thought this is a neutral team versus others.
Well, because like you said, it was a walk on day 2, so there's a lot of renters, and then there was a lot of owners who came out. So those being able to just like balance the field, really having those guys who ran out and were trying to hot dog it, having them get just hit a wall of us. Of green, so to speak, and it killed the hot dogs. They really kind of had to pedal it back, and I noticed they were working more with the renters afterwards.
Yep.
It was good cohesion. It was really fun to watch. Because they started off, you could really tell who the hot shots, like who the guys who were like, I'm gonna make a name for myself today. I'm gonna take out all these guys, and then they hit me and Andy up on a hill at one point, and they just got torn apart by his dam. It was really funny to watch. But yeah, watching them start to work with the renters, and then it was really cool. It was a nice evolution of the game.
Yeah, the teamwork definitely came out later. Ben, you were also on a different spot. You actually had a slower start to the day. One thing to mention too is we used comms like crazy, which made it so much fun. So definitely
much easier.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring that into discussion. So Ben, how did you think of it as the neutral faction?
Neutral faction is pretty fun because you obviously have the 2 different teams you have to worry about rather than just the single one. So I know that you said the one game we had the slower start during the bag collection, whatever it was. I think it was the
item
very
retrieval.
last.
Yeah.
So in that one, we basically were just chilling, and once I died and moved on to the other team, you actually see them working together rather than just them coming at you. Because I think they had a couple of the Lost Breed guys out. I'm not sure if the whole team came out.
They were split 50-50, actually. They were on both teams.
So
I don't think all of them were there either.
No, not all.
Definitely not all of them. But they definitely were helping out the rentals and all that, because I saw a bunch of them go working with them, telling them, okay, you want to go over here because, so on, just kind of teaching the new guys.
For sure. And Jamie, as the ref, how did you feel it went? Because I know you've attempted neutral factions before. You've also done like VIP escorts with a trader in the mix. So how did you find these were?
I like having a neutral team better than doing the trader stuff. I kind of stopped doing that like a long time ago, just because it was pretty hard to work out like an acceptable rule to just make it not turn into someone blowing the back of someone's head off, because that's like the best thing you can do if you're the trader. And like if that's the best option you have in the game, I just don't think it's a well-designed game.
Fair enough.
But I like a 3rd team in the mix. It's interesting. I like using the mini scenarios kind of as a day just to make things a bit more complicated than normal. And like a 3rd team is something I can't really throw in most of the time on a walk-on day, so that's cool. I think the one thing, I'm not sure if you did this actually. I wasn't paying close attention, but did you take anybody like any renters into the third team at all?
No, I kept it as the core five only for communication, and we were going to be outnumbered quite frequently. In fact, there's a
Yeah.
story
So
a little bit later there, so I didn't want to
the
throw
one
someone into
comment,
that.
the one comment I have for next time is throw in like at least one kid who's like it's his
Mhm.
first day and bring him along with the group, because that would be dope.
That'd be
Like
cool.
Yeah.
even if you have a spare headset or something, just like here, renter kid, have this. We're gonna have a great adventure. Like I'd throw that in next time.
That would
Here's a kid
that would be
at
good.
$100 radio.
Yeah,
You don't have to bring along like a million, obviously, but like having something like that to spice it up. If one kid's like super gung ho, would be sick.
yeah. I think the neutral faction is going to get expanded a little bit more. I liked it quite a bit, and because a couple times we did exactly what I wanted us to do, and a couple other times we were out way sooner than I thought we would be, and we were negligible. Like I at least was a couple times, so it give and take. So like you said, you learn and take it from there. So sorry, I got the hiccups coming. So the first game was definitely interesting. We had one thing is I think Jarvis can attest to this. I figured that people would cut the field at about the 50 point and start cutting over to their boxes because we had them crossing on the field. Unfortunately, that definitely didn't happen. We had them walk the entire tape line, and Ben and Tahal were in a really good spot off to the side, and Jarvis and Andy were right in the path of everybody else. So that made for some interesting. So one thing was we were on the radio. So Ben, talk to me first off. I know because yours wasn't as exciting, but still, you guys, how did you use the radios to communicate that kind of unexpected rush?
Well, so basically, me and T, we set the bag up in the doorway of the building. So we kind of set it out so they could see it if they did walk by, but not so that it's like they just turn around a corner and grab it. So it just adds a little bit of a challenge, right? So we basically put it there, backed up like 50 meters, and hid in a bush. We spread ourselves out, and basically we were just using the radios just to keep quiet because you're trying to talk to a guy that's quite a ways away. Whispering, they're going to hear that. So you just whisper right into the mic, and it just kind of keeps things a little quieter when you have enemy forces walking by you, like super close.
Now, would that be something you think you could do without an earpiece? Because we were all running earpieces, but what do you think about that?
Like the earpieces and all that, they do help, right? Because when you have the radio without like a earpiece in, then you risk the fact of people hearing your speaker going off, and you give yourself away in that short second. I do think the earpieces help a lot,
Nice.
but playing without it, it could be done, I think.
Could be, yeah. It's just when you're doing the quiet stuff. And then, so Jarvis, knowing that they were waiting and you guys got rocketed pretty hard, now, we didn't really get a chance where we could have like reinforced too much, but how did you find it at the beginning? Because I'm not sure how far spaced out you and Andy were. I know you got caught a little bit off guard at the initial part there.
Yeah, right off the bat, literally we got caught with our pants down, and they just came at us at full force. As I said, like the whole set of their owners just came right over that ridge line, right at us, really hard. And we got caught with our pants down. We weren't even looking the right way at the time. We were expecting the other team to be coming across later on. We didn't expect them right away at us. It was overwhelming. And then we were spread about 50 feet apart.
Okay.
And we'd set the bag in such a spot that if when they went into the hut, coming out was the problem.
Okay. So you did a little bit
they
different than the other guys.
Yeah, they put it. I don't remember what they did. They set it in such a way. So we set it up and set back, and then all of a sudden they just started tearing us apart. They saw us right away because they came from not where we expected, and we just had to adjust. Andy got up, he peeled back from me, and it wasn't until the red team had come all the way around. They had flanked the entire field all the way around on us, and they were coming around for their bag, and they just had met in between us, and Andy got ripped apart, and then I got ripped apart, and it was really fast. Once the red team came from behind us, we had no defense. We were at the top of a ridge. It was bad.
Yeah. No, that'll do it. So, what would you have done differently? Like knowing now kind of what you know then, or sorry. Yeah, I said that right. What would you have changed a little bit on that, like positioning? Just initially where we even put the bag, because we did have a second possible building for it. What do you think might have helped out there?
I didn't actually know where they'd started,
Mhm.
so I don't know if it was. I don't know exactly how far away they were from us, but had they had, I think putting it along the tape line may not have been a good idea because it gives them kind of a line, literally a line to follow to the objective, you know. And who doesn't like that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And like I said, like when I designed it, I was thinking people would cut, and they didn't. So, so Loney has a question in the comments here: is does the earpiece affect your listening abilities at all? So I didn't find at all it does. Now we are talking like I'm using an earbud right now during the show. That's exactly what you're feeling, and it's only one. And we kept things pretty quiet. But Ben, how did you find having an earpiece versus not for being able to hear stuff around you?
Well, like you said, it's one earpiece,
And
right? So it's you obviously have your other. You have your dominant ear. That's what I normally keep open, and it's just like a little loose piece, right? So it's not like it's even right in your ear like a normal earbud would be. I don't really find it affects your hearing at all, right? Because if you want to focus on something outside of the earpiece, then that's pretty simple to do.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe it can get distracting if someone's talking and you're focusing on something else. But other than that, I don't find an issue with it.
Yeah. And Jarvis, how about you? Because we use them at 0 hour as well.
With the mask as well, though, you've got the earbud and the mask, and you've always got a mask over your head anyway. So when you're playing paintball, you're always kind of hyper aware with the adrenaline. The earbud doesn't make much of a difference because if people are talking to you, it's better to have a completely blocked off ear because if you've got chatter and then the chatter of the people around you, it really gets distracting.
Yeah.
And it's just, well, for myself anyways, I've just developed a good situational awareness. I can just hear better with my one ear now. From just years of paintball, right? You just kind of get better with it. It'd be better to have a pair of good like operator's headphones where they allow neutral sound in and out and then walkie over, but we're not that technical.
Not yet.
What's the one mask, like the Sly Prophet, that's got 1,000,000 tons of padding around the ears?
Yeah, it's the slide.
It's basically like wearing earmuffs. Like that's 1,000,000 times worse than having a headset in. I don't care what headset you have.
Yeah, and that's actually really true. Is I've used those mask before, and you can't hear anything. It's
like you're underwater.
Exactly.
Like you're going on an ocean adventure.
So Jamie, how did you find the initial breakdown worked out on the field then?
I don't know, pretty predictable, honestly. Like, I think the one comment I have to say about like unexpected things in games is that you can only really place pieces on the field. You can't really make anyone do anything.
Yep.
So, I mean, going up the tape line is an option they had, and they took it, right?
Exactly.
You kind of just have to think of what options people have available to them and try and construct a game that's going to present the most interesting number of options to the players that's going to result in a good game. Like, I never really, like, expect anywhere to have a fight or, like, anything to actually happen in a game. I'm just going to give people the opportunity to have a fight. And if that happens, it's up to them.
Great point. Like you said, leave a breadcrumb trail, but if someone decides to go find cheese, then they go to find cheese.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's pretty simple. And, like, as far as the individual games go, I'm honestly not going to be that good for the play-by-play because I just refed 2 days, and it all blurs together eventually, to be totally honest.
No, that's fine.
I mean, I remember it being a good game. That's about it.
No, that's fine. No, that's, like I said, like just talking about it though and getting your ref opinion as well is always the good one. And like you said, like you've helped me build some of them as well. So then the next game we did was a manhunt style. Now this one I had super high hopes for. I don't really know how it played out because
it didn't work out like you thought it would, did it?
No, not at all. So I heard chat. I'm going to quickly explain what happened to me on this game. Was I went down the tape line, found a little bush that I'm like, okay, if they come from my left, I'm covered, and I didn't see anybody. I literally sat there, and all I hear is like the 3-minute mark, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go find some people to shoot now.
You lucked out.
Yeah, I just kind of got there. But on the other hand, I think Jarvis has an interesting story from that. So, Jarvis.
Oh no, Andy and I posted up right up in the middle at the top where those 2 dragon teeth are. But we were kind of hidden from that. There's some brush covering our right side down the ridge. And every time somebody came in, it was just like pop, 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 dead. pop, pop, pop. Well, sure enough, the entire red team had come up because they had seen those when they walked onto the field, and I guess they figured out those will be nice defensive positions, and they just kept piling in, and we just kept taking them out, and they kept piling them in and piling in. It was, and they started getting to the point where they're like, "Is this our own team?" They're looking back, yelling at us, and I had to be like, "No, man, green, you're dead. Let's go," because they obviously forgot there was that neutral party out there.
Yeah.
Which is where that whole again, we really clipped the wings of those hot guns, hot shots, hot guns,
that's hot dogs. I think we call
top
them
guns, hot dogs. Yeah, there we go.
You shot some people.
I shot the shit out of a lot of people, and
there you go.
It was the first time I'd actually like let that phenom go in a while, and it was like it felt like a really good machine gun. I didn't plan for it. I thought I was like in a quiet spot that guys might walk past me, but I didn't realize they'd just stop 50 feet in front of me and not move.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that game was definitely a lot different than I expected it to be. And Ben, how did you find it? Because you actually, I think, were the second last person to die in that game, or did you survive the whole one? I forget.
This was the Hamburger Hill one, right?
Yeah.
Did any greens make it the whole way through that one?
I survived that one.
There we go. There
did
he is.
Yeah.
I was basically just using a whole.
Oh yeah, it was you two in the end. Tyler got knocked out just before the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I heard someone over the radio say, "Yeah, I'm dead." So it's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm the last one. So
Yeah, it was
I was basically just doing the whole guerrilla thing: pop in, harass them, and pop it. I got a couple of good ones off of them, so I'd be running back left and right field. I almost got up behind someone to barrel tag him, but his buddy kind of turned around before that could happen. So I retreated back into the forest and went around another way. And
so you chickened out. Keep going.
Actually, no, I was smart about it and lived.
Uh-huh.
I kept my code.
Okay. So yeah, so you actually did do the hit and run harassment, which is what I thought we would be doing a little bit more of. Jarvis apparently just went into a barrel with fish.
I had no choice. The fish came to me.
I was the dynamite. They were the fish. It happened.
Yes.
Yeah. Then I think, because then when even I walked off, like I said, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll walk back. And someone was literally ahead of me, and they were just totally oblivious. And I'm like, one. And then I just saw it, like you said, every red team was just hunkered at those pillboxes. And I just, like, was raining it. And I'm like, I feel bad. I'm going to go find other people to shoot now. And I still came up behind a bunch of people walking towards me were red. And I just shot them, and they were all like, team. And I'm like, green. They're like, oh, yeah. And then and then there was two guys like farther down the hill that I didn't see initially, and I got them both, but they hid behind the tree, and one guy got me in the hand. But it was interesting. I think the next game was definitely interesting. At this point, we hit 65 people on the field. By the way, that's how many were. Yeah, were at the event, and like we said, a lot of walk-ons. So this one, I'm gonna let Ben explain where he went first. This is the final battle.
Wait. Can I say something about that hamburger game?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I got
ahead.
something to add here. So I think the thing that happened that game is that the neutral team soaked up like a lot of the experienced players who actually knew the field.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Hamburger Hill is that it's a hard play because it's 100% classic woods ball, super deep brush with very little hard cover, like your classic like early 80s field.
Oh, yeah.
And the average renter looks at that and has no idea what the heck to do. So generally they stick to trails or like open spaces, and there's really only 2 or 3 areas on that field to actually move through that are like a trail. Like there's one up the middle of the field with a lot of woods on either side for anyone who's not seen it. So like the red team just ended up going up the trail single file and passing by you guys who were deep in the woods where you were supposed to be, where like an experienced player would hide. So like that's just kind of how it unfolded to me. That's how they all bypassed you guys. They just kind of went up the middle.
Red team was the one who was on top, right? Or were they bottom?
They were top.
They were top. Yeah, they walked right by me.
So yeah, I don't know. That's just also a symptom of like you can give people options, but you can't really make them do anything. Like they all just chose to go up the middle and go fight the other team, and they don't really know how to approach the woods, and that's not really their fault. This is kind of how it worked out.
Oh, for sure. And one thing was I used previous games as my reference points for players, so I'm thinking we're going to get like 15 to 25 people, and they're all gun owners. And like maybe 5 walk-ons. And in this case, it was like we did have my 15 to 25 gun owners, and then we had about 40 walk-ons, and it was just like, well, the militia arrived.
Yeah, that's what happens.
We had a good batch of not experienced players, but they'd obviously play. played paintball a few times before.
Yeah. And the other one too is that like there was groups. There were a good ton of groups, and they stuck together well.
Very good cohesion there too. And they were also, I noticed later on, they started to talk to each other really, really well. The last game, we'll talk about that later. That was something else.
that was. I think this is the one where we're going to get the best stories out of. So, to paint the picture, we had. This is actually where Jarvis had been on before, and he told me to dumb it down, stupid, because I had too many hoops to jump through to get to the final objective. So what we ended up doing was the final battle from before was to, as you shot us, you got combinations. It was a 3 combo lock that I was using, and then we had 2 numbers in each one of the envelopes, and out of the 5 you had to at least probably get 2 to 3, or I think 2 always, unless you got a duplicate, to break the final combo lock. So one team had the lock combo, another team didn't, but we put all of the combo locks again on the field for the final battle. So we had those 65 people coming at us, and we had a briefcase in the fort, which is really easy to defend when you're inside it.
Extremely easy.
Yeah. And then we, so you had to get into there, open the briefcase. Inside was a little laptop, get it to the town, and then you got into your one building and you're done. So a little complicated, but it's interesting to do. So we initially determined a plan that we put 2 people in the fort. And Ben, where did you go initially?
Initially, I was up on the helipad where Jarvis and Andy were for one of the previous games.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically just crouching up there, just kind of waiting to see if they would come over that way.
Yep.
And most of Red Team came that way. They actually got there pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't wanting to make any contact at that point, so I just pulled back, let everyone else know on the comms, like, they're all going right.
Yep.
So I pulled back into that new spot that they have made. I think it was made just for last weekend, I believe. So I pulled back onto the hill, and I'm not sure if like you've ever played Arma or anything like that.
Nope.
But it's basically a very open plain with shrubs every so often, very rolling hills like. So I basically just stacked up behind a tree, laid down, and waited for them to come. A guy, one of the Lost Breed guys actually, he took a group of like 3 renter kids,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, okay, we're going to go up behind Spartan Hill and we're going to flank them from Spartan Hill. So they literally walk like maybe 10 feet in front of me, and I'm waiting, and they walk right past me. So it's like, okay. So next step, I just turn on my back, wait for them to line up. So I target the owner, right, first, because he's going to be the more experienced one, know what to do. So like 1, 2, he's down. 3, 4, next kid's down. And then I go for the next kid, and my mag runs out. So I do a little combat roll behind the tree, and I'm like panicking to get my mags in because they won't. I keep missing the mag well. By that time, the kid's already run away.
The cycle. Learn to cycle. Sit in your bedroom and just crack that mag over and over again.
It's hard. It's hard doing it on your back under fire. So
practice it. Practice.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I think we got like a new job to Evan to make you do.
Just let him sit in the shop, lay on his back, and start playing with the mag. Yeah, good idea.
Like one of those little rotary reels, right, for toddlers, except for just changing mags.
There you go.
But yeah, so then another group of the Lost Breed guys were up by like literally right behind Spartan Hill. So at that point, I've moved up to get them, and I take a good amount of them out, and then I peel back again.
You were just a hornet that entire game, weren't you? You just kept. You were just a hornet. You were just stinging everybody.
Yeah, I was basically just like waiting them to walk by and then going in behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But at that point, once I got the second group of them, the first guys had come back looking for me. So I'm running around the opposite end of the hill, and I peep up one way, and there's one guy there. So it's like crap, reload and all that. And at that point, my marker had gone down.
Mm-hmm.
I just ran out of air. So I just kind of pulled out my little cold steel picked the easiest route and just ran, just like charged the guy. At that point, I got pegged in the head pretty well, but it was a fun charge.
That's good.
You tried. That's what
Yeah.
That's what counts. That's what counts. So then, Jarvis, me and you started the game a little bit differently. Why don't you walk me through that?
Sorry, which game?
The final one.
Oh, we started inside the building. No, we started out.
Oh, no, we
Ben and I
didn't.
started out in the back.
I was with you.
right behind that Mitsubishi sign. Sorry, I was thinking of a different game. I was still stuck on Hamburger Hill. That was
okay.
that was something else. Oh, they're trying to get me to laugh in the comments. Oh,
Yeah, someone's you got a fan there, Charlie.
I see.
Someone wants your autograph.
They're awesome. Thanks. Thank you very much, Valancourt.
And pants are optional, according to Dave.
Pants are
Natural.
always optional.
New York was fun. New York was a lot of fun.
I'll just go with
But
that.
we're not here to talk about that. Yeah, so we were out back behind that Mitsubishi sign in the what do you guys call that? The town, the
Yeah.
village.
The town is
Well,
the
let's
overall
call that
field.
Back
Yeah.
behind there.
Oh,
whole thing is-
the dugout area, Jamie. What's that called?
Oh, the trenches.
Trenches.
Yeah, beyond the fort.
So
yeah.
we started out around just past the trenches beyond the fort, and we got overrun fast again because Ben was up in the hills doing whatever Ben did, playing his guerrilla tactics, and they just came flushing in on us, and we immediately had to retreat into the building.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was-
It
it was disheartening. We'd set up a nice defensive position, and we forgot that two people really can't do that much against 50, 60 when they only have one life.
yeah. 30 on each side, roughly rushing at
Well,
us.
we held them back. We held them back on the right side for quite a while.
Oh yeah, it was pretty much one of those things. Is Ben's response was I'm retreating back. Let's regroup. My and Jarvis' response was, "F
Nope.
that. We're running into the fort fast."
Yeah.
Fuck that. Let's go hide.
yeah, and we lasted in that
They
fort for a
needed
while.
it though, because there were too many vectors for those guys to cover on their own. Like the way we had originally set ourselves up, we set ourselves up for failure.
Yeah.
But as like everybody's got to plan until the shit hits the fan.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And then the way you naturally pick up the pieces
Mhm.
defines how you play the game. And the way we got into that fort, we held it for what, like 20 minutes? Well, it felt like 20 to 30 minutes.
Probably about 15
Yeah.
to 20 maybe.
Yeah.
And then but we did hold it for quite a while, and that fort is some fun angles, and we scared the crap out of people a couple times because they made some good bumps, and we knew the windows, we knew the little doorways to shoot out of, and even for when I got hit, it was one of those ones I technically could have called it splatter because I was the last person in the fort alive, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm like, I know I'm surrounded. I want to see the game progress. And then we have another story about this. So I mentioned that we had a briefcase that we used. I put it in the fort. I put it roughly in the center. A very wise person who likes to dress up as Deadpool told me, F that, let's make it fun. And he puts it up on the walls.
Yeah,
in
that was a
little-
good idea.
On a little triangle spot. And it was a great idea. So, Jarvis, after you were shot and I was shot, what did you decide to do?
Well, I sat back and once I got hit, I went back to spawn and I sat at the top of the hill and I watched. I didn't want to dive in because I knew where you guys were and wouldn't be fair. So I waited and I waited. And I noticed the the red team wasn't doing anything. They were sitting back. They had their experienced players were moved up. They were set in good positions. You guys had all cleared out. So I sat and I watched as you guys one after the other came walking out. Mm-hmm. And then finally, as I started to walk up, 'cause I'm like, all right, there's only one or two left. And then sure enough, you come out. And the second you came out, right in, ran in there, because the red team, had been sitting for so long, and you'd been engaging the blue team. The red team hadn't taken any fire from you at all, and they were just hiding and sitting back. So I ran in really quick, and I'd been in there, and then once I got in there, I think I sat there for maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. I didn't engage anybody. I just sat and I waited, and nobody came. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to take down this case. So I took down the case, and I opened it. No, I didn't. I took it out. I forgot, yes.
No, what happened when you got...
I wasn't allowed to leave. I ran like a little girl.
No, what also happened, though, is you ran into that building, because you told me the story. You ran into that building, and you're like, okay, where's the case?
Right, yeah, sorry, no. I ran in, I forgot where the case was. I ran to where the white envelope was, and I opened up the envelope, and I was like, wait, now where's the case? And I looked back, and I looked over, and then I finally, after a few seconds, I looked, oh yeah, I forgot I put it up there.
Yeah, you're the one who put it up there.
Well, the game had I forgot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, heat of the moment, it was
just...
it was just hilarious to me that the one person that wanted to hide it the best is the one.
Yeah.
Well, it also, it made it a little more interesting because, I was in there for a little bit longer than you'd expect me to have been. And
Yeah.
it wasn't so much that I was dawdling. I was dawdling, but I couldn't find the case.
Yeah, and then yes, you guys did make it out, and
Oh, yeah, no, I forgot about it had to be opened inside that building, but I only peeled back, like, maybe 10 feet out, or 20 feet out from the building, and I was still out in the open. It wasn't like I was really hunkered into cover, but sure enough, the second my team saw me come out with that briefcase, they turned into a phalanx and just came with me the whole way up. It was really, again, multiple people from multiple different groups came together with really good cohesion, and sure enough, we had it out, opened, and the objective halfway up the hill when our team leader had actually didn't see any of this happen, came down the hill, went in, and couldn't find it with another squad of like 5 or 6.
yeah,
And still the red team hadn't advanced.
yeah. So it was it was definitely interesting. And then I made a mistake during that time because I collected the briefcase and then I found a bunker and I put it on it. Unfortunately, the blue team retreated with the case with the item inside. The red team saw me put the case down, so then proceeded to rush the objective to that point. And I was like, didn't think you would do that. So like Jamie said, you live and learn. So I definitely think that was one of my favorite games to watch. It was super interesting because then we got into the town and it was a good firefight there. There was a couple of bunker rushes. People were like corners away from each other, and we're on the sidelines and we're just watching it. We're just like, just 3 feet, man, just 3 feet. Come on, like I really want to see where this is gonna go.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
It just got to the point where we had done all of our job, right? I got the objective up, and I just let it go. And once I got it out of that building and just kind of pushed the game forward a little bit further, I let it go, and it was gone. And I literally walked from that spot to the objective, and that guy had taken it up the hill to their spawn and waited for whatever reason. I think it might have been their team's plan.
Yeah,
To take it up there, regroup, and then come down.
Yeah.
Naturally, because we were the green team, we were not in on anything. So I walked from where I handed that guy the thing directly to the objective with no incoming at all.
Yeah.
And I stood there and I waited, and I waited, and I was like, all right, okay, I think I did my part. I'm gonna go sit off the side and watch. And it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because the way like the red team came in, the blue team came in, the red team pushed the blue team out and back and forth for a little bit. It was wow.
I think that's probably one of my
sports.
Yeah, and paintball. I guess one of my favorite places to see a give and take and for an objective push. So, so that was the event overall. And then we did some lighter walk on days. But I think I was the only one who did stuff after that because everyone was like, I'm tired and hungry.
Oh, I did stuff after that. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, you did a lot of stuff.
I ran walk-on games for another 3 hours.
You worked, and then you worked, and then you were paid. We weren't paid.
We
We
paid.
We had a lot of fun. No, you know what though? I would pay for that again. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was a blast. I love that field. I really do like that field. As I said, I've only been there once before with a couple of coworkers and my nephew, but we didn't get to see the whole field. I'd never seen that town. That was all witchcraft and wizardry. I mean, it was just really cool. It was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, like it's such a big field that I almost never get to use all of it at once. But the mini scenarios are a really good time for that.
Yeah. Now, I also want to talk about something else. Go ahead, Jarvis. Go ahead.
No, we need more of those. We need a lot more of those mini scenarios. We need to have, like what again George was doing, Unanistan, with those MagFed leagues. It's nice to have them in the city during the winter, but we need somebody to do a little mini MagFed league outside during the summer when everybody.
Almost like a MagFed invasion sort of thing.
Yeah.
We did. We tried that.
Yeah.
With that name.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I like these small scale ones where it's like maybe 10 or 11 experienced, like in the know experienced players, and then a whole ton of walk on experienced players.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
No, and I think we did do, like you said, like really well and everything like that. And we've tried tournament stuff, and I think it's one of those things is like keep it simple, keep it lightly organized at first, and then get the regularity going, and then we'll take it from there. So
I think this might actually be a good time to go into Sector's field rules because they're a bit different, I guess.
That's true. You want to cover it? You want to cover it?
I feel like the way we've got the rules constructed makes paintball as accessible as possible to the most people possible. So, I mean, I think, if you're a MagFed guy and you come to Sector, you're going to have a good time. And if you're someone else who enjoys paintball in a different way and you come to Sector, you're gonna have a good time no matter who you are. So just come to Sector, guys.
I don't mean to plug the field that I work at, but plug the field that I work at.
100% plug in the field.
100%. No, that field was amazing.
But yeah, like
Nope.
sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't
Jamie.
want to go into the field rules or me, Tyler. But
I'll run through it really quick if you want.
yeah, go for it.
So what it is that as of last year, Sector introduced a new rule for loadout availability. The way it works is that if you have semi-auto only, never allowed 3-round, never allowed full auto, even playing field. The second thing is that dual triggers, which is generally speedball markers, cannot have force-fed hoppers. So something like Die, an Eclipse, like a DM, like those speedball marker looking, they have to have a gravity hopper. If you don't have one, the field will provide one, no problem, because you didn't realize you had a force-fed.
Yeah, we don't make people pay for that.
Yeah, and it slows down the ability. You can get like an easy 5 shots off that. I ran a speedball marker with a 150 hopper. I could shoot 5 times, no problem. And then what it is, though, is that if you say, for example, have a die dam, you can use a box rotor. That's fine, because it will only ever shoot as fast as you can pull the trigger. And yeah, you can get it off pretty good, but it just adds that style. Yeah.
And the other component, I'm not sure if you get it or not, but the way our mercy rule also works is that it's completely optional. So I mean, if you want to run in and shoot someone in the back, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And like I can kind of consider that pretty important, because for me, like, that's when paintball gets the most interesting. It's when you get near people, like really close to them, and you know, you're working on like opposite sides of the same bunker, and like the kind of firefights that result from that are the things that are most interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that the no force fed hopper rule kind of plays into that, because it doesn't matter who's using what really, or even what kind of person they are. If I see a guy come out of the woods with like an ego behind like 5 kids that don't know he's there, the worst thing that's going to happen is they all get shot like once or twice each, not like they don't get laced with like 15 each.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that makes the game a lot better, because the guy who comes out of the woods with the ego gets to shoot the kids in the back too. That rules for him.
Yep. And Jake has a good question too in the comments, is like, what about mini scenario league? It's something definitely. You generally want cohesion and rules. Like all 3 events this year, my next one is going to be based on the storyline, so blue team immediately gets a leg up in the next mission. It's more of an attack and defend sort of style, so it's definitely a good idea. I think going around to different fields would be great as well, like touring different ones for different events. Hey, this storyline's here, that storyline's there. Just getting people out. There's also a lot of great big game events that I don't like. Again, like, it's like I don't want to see the market get saturated by walk-ons, but I also think giving somebody
that's not this. We need to have more walk-ons. We need to have the market saturated with walk-ons.
Oh no, sorry, a walk-on, but I mean like big games.
Oh, you mean walk-on events?
Yeah, walk-on events.
Oh,
like that's
sorry.
what I mean. Like doing like the organized walk-on days it's a great idea, but like I'll only do one a month. Me as a light player, I can't make it out a lot. I have 2 kids. I can only make so many games. So
and a dog.
And a dog. I have 2 dogs right now in the house, which is interesting. Not 5 dogs. But
4 dependents. So
yeah, 4 dependents exactly. No, it's a great thing. Like, it is good idea. It gets people out. I think it is a good entry to barrier. Because Jamie, one question I was going to come into you was, after we left, or after we stopped playing the mini game, you actually got a surprising remark, which somebody didn't want to play 10-minute games. They wanted to play 30 minutes, right?
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah, there was a group there they were renting, and it was a pair of like older ladies, and I didn't really expect it from them, honestly, but they were surprised we were only going to do like a 10-minute game when we went back to like regular walk-on. They're like, oh, why aren't we doing a long one? And it's like, all right, if people want this, I'm going to do this more often. Like, normally I limit walk-on games to about 10 minutes, because after 10 minutes the average renter is either out of ammo or like shot, and you know, I don't want to make like a 30-minute game go on most of the time and have like people out of ammo wandering around, and like, you know, that just doesn't seem like a very good thing. But if people want that, then I guess I'll throw it in every so often.
Nope.
Just tell the renters that it's a super long game and it works out.
Yep.
You know what, man? The longer, basically, when running Georgina, one of the last games of the day was just, all right, guys, let's run you out of paint. We didn't tell them that, but that was the name of the game. Basically, was all right. Let's find the best way to make them run out of paint. And some of those games would go on for 20, 30 minutes, but those were the ones where they'd spend an extra 20 minutes in the staging area just talking about how great. Oh, did you see? I did. You did. We did. It's like it really just adding those 20, 30-minute games at the end of the day. I know it's nice to have them to have paint when they come back, but it gets rid of it. It's good for rental groups. Gets them done. All right, you're done. You're good. Cool.
Yep.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, my personal favorite game to play is like 2-flag classic capture the flag, like 20 minutes, no respawns.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
I really wish I could do like a 1980s style, like 90-acre field. The game is going to last 5 hours. There's no respawns to capture the flag. Like that would be really cool. Like that's the kind of paintball that doesn't really exist anymore. And like that's the kind of games I've always wanted to play the most too.
Let's actually let's talk about that really. One thing Dave had to comment about like hoppers will deter customers from coming into the field. You're right, it can partially, but Sector also kind of compensates with a BYOP every weekend. So
yeah,
it's like a tomato kind of feeling, and most of the guys who use the gravity get grumpy, but they like the field and they like the game so much that they're like, I'll accept it, versus like death matches that go 5 minutes that are supposed to be 20. But Ben, let's start with you. What's your favorite paint waster game? What's your end of the day favorite?
Well, because Sector was my old stomping ground. Before I moved, that's where I always went.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing we always did was bomb in the warehouse. So bomb would be in the middle, and you throw it onto the other side. And once the bomb's on your other side, then a timer starts. And if the other team gets it back onto your side, then the timer will restart. So it could go on forever, or it could be done in like 5 minutes. So when you get two really balanced teams, it definitely lasts a lot longer and you waste a lot more paint. But at the same time, it gets really intense sometimes because you get like 2 or 3 lobs back and forth and you're starting to tire out. So it definitely wastes the paint though.
And you get the gun owners pushing and the renters generally helping out with suppression fire as well. Yeah, helping. Hey, I'll be frank, as much as we make the joke sometimes that they're in the back line.
No, they do.
It's true. Paintball is the only sport where you can be in the back line and you are contributing, unlike the soccer defenseman who's like, I gotta stand 2 feet to my left and I'm helping cover a zone better.
I'm helping. I'm part of things. I fed my Wookiee.
I don't know, honestly, give me like 5 minutes and a renter and I can make him actually like accomplish a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
It's not hard. Like if people want to play the game and you just tell them how to play it correctly, they'll be more effective most of the time.
You being a ref as well, right? Like normally refs are very encouraging to new players, trying to get them to, get more into the sport, do crazier stuff.
Well,
probably the main thing I do
is run a summer camp too, though, don't you?
Yeah, we run a summer camp every year.
So that's once you do it once. I mean, we did it at Georgina. Once you do it once, you just become second nature. Well, as your job though,
that too. Like mainly the most advice I give out is just how to hold your gun right.
Yeah.
Like I just tell people how to hold the rental right. That's pretty easy. Just hold it by the tank, teacup it, skip the front like the foregrip. The weight distribution isn't good with a Steely tank. Just use the backhand, and you'll shoot more people that way.
Would you like some tea, sir?
Yep.
All right, so let's go, Jamie. What is your favorite paint waster as a player, not as a ref?
As a player.
Because you're primarily a pump player. That's one thing to mention. Is you play pump? Is your
I can't really imagine ever wasting paint
I know.
in a game, so this is tough. I really like point control, honestly. Like it's a King of the Hill game, so there's just a flag in the middle of the field, and at the end of the time, so like a 10-minute limit, usually whoever's the one closest to the flag wins. So we'll do a game like that with unlimited respawns. So you just have to charge in over and over again, get close to the flag, and if you're playing with like 4v4 and it's like the guys at Sector, like the regular crew, and everyone's good, it's an extremely intense game because it'll change hands multiple times, like the center of the field.
Yeah. So
you end up shooting quite a bit, and you end up playing like a lot of angles and flanking people and like respawning in a hurry and doing interesting things.
Yep. So to quote Nate Jesser in the comments there, so pumpers, you just do it by hand. I'm sorry, that's too good to pass up. All right, so Jarvis, what's your favorite Paint Waster game?
Oh, I love just the old-fashioned attack and defend.
Yep.
You put them into a good hunkered building. You give them a narrow attack vector, the attackers in a narrow vector, and then just sit back and watch. Give the other team unlimited respawns. And then, just maybe sometimes like zombies. You know what? Zombies is my favorite Paint Waster because the attacking team becomes the defending team and vice versa. Eventually,
That's actually my favorite one as a ref.
yeah. Paintball City has the best because they have the you lock them in a building, the zombies or whatever. You lock the humans in a building and have one or two little Bens running around with guerrilla tactics, taking pop shots.
And
then slowly one team becomes the other, and it just grows. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt you. It's cool, but I don't actually do zombies anymore. I do a similar game called Popcorn, which I kind of adapted because I found zombies would end up having like a lot of friendly fire after about the 2-minute mark. Like the first 2 minutes of the game rules, and then after that, everyone just gets confused because we usually play that in the town. So there's a lot of
the survivors cannot leave. They're stuck, so there's no friendly fire because there's everybody who's outside of that building is a zombie.
I know.
If you shoot them, you're just not a good player. Oh, sorry. Yeah. How did you? They were.
I ended up adapting this, so I took it to our warehouse field. So like it's a really small, like linear field with a lot of hardcover. And how I run it is I'll have one team start at the bottom of the field, one at the top, so opposite ends. The guys at the bottom will have a riot shield, which is dope.
Dirty. Yeah.
And they'll also be like significantly outnumbered. Like if I have like 16 people there, I'll just put 4 on the bottom team to start or something. Those guys get unlimited respawns. So you hit, you go back to the start, you spawn in, and the guys at the top don't. And if you're on the top team and you get hit, you just put your hand up, go down the field, tag in at the bottom base, and you join the bottom team. So since it's a really linear field, there's really no confusion about where the enemy's coming from, and it's also just like an extremely good paint wasting game because everyone shoots a lot. You switch teams, you keep shooting a lot for the whole time, basically.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was just my comment on zombies.
I enjoy it. I think it's better on a small field now versus a big field because that is one thing. Like Jamie mentioned, the friendly fire. And you're right, Jarvis. Is like when it's a contained. Like even on the warehouse field, same thing. It's contained. We played it one time at the town. I was going up in the woods to start flanking around, and one of the new zombies started to shoot me in the ass because he's like, "Oh yeah, there's somebody up there. They're going to do
target.
that."
They just
they
see
might as well just shoot it. It's moving.
Well, that's also renter mentality at some points because a lot of the time I've been at renter games and just walking onto a rental game and just being shot in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh, there's somebody in front of me. It doesn't matter if he's looking the same way I'm looking. Oh, there's somebody.
Yeah.
I do always tell renters that paintballs do not care where they came from, just where they're going.
Friendly fire is...
That's amazing. I've never heard that described better. I like that.
I use that in the briefing every time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. So Alexander had a question in the comments too. On the Riot Shield field or game, do they have a weapon?
Yeah. I mean, if they want to.
Fair.
Some people just ditch it because they want a riot shield. Some people don't. Like, I've seen teams not even use it because they figure it's too bulky and they just want to shoot a lot. Like, it's just another option for the players to use.
Yep.
They can hand it off to each other.
Yep.
So, my turn finally. My favorite paint waster. Ben said it was.
You don't get a turn. No,
I always get a turn. I always get a turn. I'll mute you. So, my favorite normally is bomb, zombie. Everything everyone's mentioned is a lot of fun, but the one that I actually really enjoyed that we did recently was a team deathmatch, but it's a bit of a spin on it. So it's on the warehouse field. There's a flag on the right and there's a flag on the left. While your team's color is up, you get unlimited respawns. So the entire objective is pull the flag, stop the other team from getting unlimited respawns, and then start to eliminate them. So nothing actually goes on until those flags are pulled.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
I remember playing this before.
you're on the podcast with the creator, I'm pretty sure, Jamie, right?
I think I tried that, yeah.
Yeah, because we did it. You were the one who did it for me.
That's a game, that's a game I'll run.
Yeah, I did.
I'd make up a lot of stuff constantly because I would get bored running the same attack and defend every day. Like, I'd just go insane.
Yeah.
But I think that's the kind of game I would run if I had like mostly experienced players that I
Yeah.
knew were gonna fight for the objective. Because if I set that game up with just renters,
Oh yeah, no one's gonna go for it. And
yeah, I mean, like it wouldn't be much better than any of the other games I could play with unlimited respawns.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
this
it's not
one
gonna
we
be as aggressive.
yeah, we did have a lot of gun owners with us. I think it might even been like after one of the other mini scenarios from last year we played it. But it was like one of those jokes is like I actually went for the flag twice because I pulled it once and I maybe got shot right as I pulled it. We weren't really sure. So we're like, we'll just put it back up. So I went and respawned and I grabbed it again. But my favorite memory from that is someone had me dead to rights with a pistol, shot it straight right off the pole. And it was like that tiny, like, and it was like my favorite memory of like just staying low. And it was just like, ding. And I'm like, I'm going to grab this now.
That's up there with shooting someone's paintball out of the air.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because these are just on ski poles. That's
yeah.
what the flags are on. So it was like a rare chance. I did have another question. I'm trying to remember what it is now.
Paper, notes.
Gotta keep notes.
Yeah, that would help, but typing's pain.
Paper.
What do you guys think about the average field size these days? Because honestly, I don't get out a lot to different fields. You guys do that way more than me. And I'm
No.
not sure how big the average field is these days. Because the town we have is huge. I like huge fields, and I see like a lot of fields these days on fairly small areas. Like, I can't think of a lot of fields I know of where the teams start and you can't see each other because you're too far apart.
Like,
You need to get out more, boss.
But
They
we're
all-
not big games though, like walk-on days. Think of that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Think of
like PRZ and all that. I've never been to a walk-on game, but from what I hear is that they normally keep it condensed.
PR,
so-
that's an exception, man. That's huge. And even
Yeah.
still, you can see each other from the boats to the hospital or whatever you call
Also,
that.
I don't think PRZ operates like a conventional field in a lot of ways.
They do walk-on events. They'll break down to building, but even then, multiple floors shouldn't count. Hey, we'll start them on the third floor. But
Yeah, I'm
it's,
not
it's
sure.
just that's not a no. That's you should definitely get out there, man. It's a lot.
I do want to.
Yeah.
Send them. What are you doing next weekend?
Playing pump or working.
Oh, okay.
Reffing.
Well, then you should come out. Like, just show up one day. The best day of paintball I ever had was a day I just walked on, with no friends and no expectations, and I didn't know there was an event going on, and made 30 of the best runs of my life. Best day ever.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you guys have any other topics you want to discuss? Because we're hitting just around that hour mark now.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh yeah, geez, it's like an hour and 4.
That's all good. Damn, I really want to try to remember what my other topic was. It was similar to what we were just talking about.
Like little turkey baster joke.
Turkey.
It was about fields or was it about games?
I was about games. Yeah, I think it's totally gone.
Rip.
It's late. Whatever. It's like my shovel that I took to the face today. Rip.
What? Oh, I was helping my father-in-law my brother-in-law build some lawn chairs, and then pushed on a knot, and this board broke and cracked me right in the chin. It's great. Really woke me up at 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, mine was I was trying to get a tree out of our backyard. That's like a little bush tree. Took the shovel to it,
How was your weekend, boys?
gave it a good push, and snapped and came up and smashed me in the chin as well.
Yeah.
How did you hurt yourself this weekend, Ben?
This weekend, I emotionally hurt myself every weekend.
No, not emotionally, physically. You're a teenager. You're always emotionally hurt.
Yeah, exactly right. No serious injuries this weekend. On the topic of lumber incidents, though, I was actually with my buddy on his property. We were like maybe like 12 at the time, and we were just like cutting down deadfall or like dead trees for building a fort. And I'm swinging at this one tree, and it starts
Hornet's
to fall.
nest? I'm waiting
No.
for a hornet's nest in this story.
No, actually.
I'm just watching Jarvis during this.
Starts to fall, and it hits a branch. It's a really thin tree. It hits a branch on the way down. Half of it snaps and falls the other way and lands right on my head. And I'm just like buried under like this giant tree. Like, what the heck happened?
You guys remember, he's the only person that has facial expressions that I can work
Watch.
with here.
I know.
I'm looking at two blank pictures and a pen.
I'm glad you cheated death, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've cheated
10
death.
points.
Me too.
Really.
I actually have a pretty good tree falling paintball related story because
Oh.
there was
Think
this
we all.
extremely dead oak next to the chrono like a year and a half ago, and so like Alex, field owner, went to cut it down, and he had it like tied off too. So we had like two refs pulling on it to try and get it to fall the right way, because it's right next to the chrono, obviously, and it just slams right into the top of the thing. Like you can see the tree just like start to go over like slow motion, heading right towards the chrono with its like plywood setup and the nets. We're just like,
Oh no.
yeah, this is gonna happen. And then it turns out Alex actually built an extremely solid chrono, and it took the hit completely perfectly. We chainsawed the thing up, and it was a good dag.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So Nate finally reminded me of what the question I had was.
Open class.
Open class versus stock class events. So one of the reasons I do like Sector, just to bring up my opinion on it, and I'm going to get you three to go, is that because of the limitation on the dual trigger, it's immediately that I'm not going to see someone with a chainsaw on the paintball field, so I'm not as worried about shoving people together. That limitation alone,
the smaller ones.
Yeah.
There's like a couple theoretical chainsaw builds that you could bring to Sector, but none of them would work very well.
yeah. But
Oh, my Phenom, I was getting off at least 10 balls a second. I can pull that trigger pretty quick. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but the E-grip Tipman
No,
is
it
not
would
as
stop.
consistent as a rotor. Well, yeah, I mean, like an E-grip Tipman would go faster, though, right? Like that's the theoretical chainsaw
Well,
build.
yeah.
yeah, and
But I mean, for the way we were playing that day, I mean, I was the closest thing to a chainsaw that day.
exactly.
Yeah.
Even with Tyler with a double trigger, he never got off more than 4 or 5 shots in a burst that I could hear.
No, and even then, I would only ever do it if I was lobbing, like just
Yeah.
play cell, and that natural limitation is what I like. I don't really believe on any other limitations unless you're going for a theological game, and I don't mean like a theme. I mean like a theological game. Is you're bringing in a lot of personal beliefs into that setup. So, my wording for it. So, on Jarvis's confused face, what do you think? Open class versus stock class events?
I like just open class. Anybody can bring whatever they want. Because most of the time, it does even out. The chainsaws take out the chainsaws. The first strike guys take out the chainsaws. The chainsaws take out the first strike guys. Yeah, there's a perfect food chain. And there's a perfect balance to it. And obviously, people pick off the renters as natural. You'd like, no, they really seriously.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
It is. There's a natural. It's a very good analogy. The circle of life. You have the two main predators attacking each other, the wolves and the cats, so to speak, and then you've got the herbivores, omnivores,
The
whatever.
dodos.
Yeah, no. Hunters aren't dodos. They have teeth, man. Some of those guys who came out, like they were running laps around us at some points.
Oh yeah.
Don't give them. Don't take those renters for granted, man.
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Can I go ahead?
Jamie,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Sick.
Jamie, go.
Silence.
What the heck is like? What are you referring to as stock class? Because I'm super
Oh,
confused now. Because stock class to me means 12 grams only, pump action only.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah,
12 gram
that's
has to
old
pass
school.
through.
Old school.
That's what
rules.
stock class is.
I think a stock class as the gravity fed single shot, no electronics, nothing fancy, simple, basic. I mean, yeah, okay. Or stock
I
class.
think we need
like you
new
said,
words here.
TPX is perfect stuff. Well, the game's evolved so much since the 80s and 90s, man.
So let's put it this
Yeah,
way.
but
Open.
stock class still exists as its own niche, though, right?
Oh, you're
does,
right. I just
100%.
haven't heard it used in that context in a long time. Sorry, I don't.
I think the one thing is like, do you think an open event where you can get a mixed match, or where it is mag fed focus, it is still maybe hopper focus but mill sim, so you can bring on an X7 but you can't bring on like a Tipman crossover, stuff like that. Like those events I've seen as well.
I like any event where the most people can play and have the most fun.
So open
Like,
class.
I don't like barriers to entry. I think everyone should come and have fun no matter what they are, just as long as you're not going to kill each other or hurt each other seriously.
For sure.
That's going to be a good time.
All right, Ben, are you going to be the opinionated person or not? Let's hear it. Open
Hold
class.
on. I definitely do. I don't have anything against open class or anything. I do find with Wasaga Beach and PRZ, you do get the speedball guns a lot, so it can make it hard if you're playing magfed. I do actually really like the milsim aspect of it. Having just magfed and maybe like one section weapon. or whatever like that.
Mhm.
So you have maybe one guy with a box mag, and then the rest are running mag fed. But
Okay.
like something just to keep it balanced, because if you have a bunch of space guns sitting along with like one guy with a mag fed gun, it can be hard, right? Just kind of get up in there.
So let me flip it back this way, though, because you brought up two games. You said PRZ and Wisega, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me put it this way, is that open class games bring more people.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, of course. But
More often than not, it's not that it's a speedball marker that's the problem, because a speedball marker on a CQC field, even a woods ball field, isn't a threat when you can flank them and you can outmaneuver them or you can get in close with them. The problem is you go to a Sega. I know it hasn't been this big recently, but I was at the game, and I believe Jarvis was as well, when it was 1,800 people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is a number of years ago, and
That was ridiculous.
and it was just lines of people. And you know what? It's turkey shooting. It's
Yeah.
suppression fire. That is where
We
speed.
took on command rules that day, like with Vice and Tyler Batstone was the one of the sergeants, and we
Yep.
just kind of worked off him. But that day was so hectic that we ended up having like the better part of Vice, the better part of Black Ice, trying to run a quarter of our team.
Yeah.
And it just got so crazy that like it was like, all right, guys, we're not players anymore.
There's
start
too many
hoping
people
the
to
players run.
Yeah.
It got crazy. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a medic at these games because I can't. Those games were just so hectic.
Yep. And
It was there was a point in the rumble in the jungle where we just laid on the ground and watched snow and leaf bits fall because there was so much paint in the air.
Yeah.
You guys ever go to Wasaga back when it was like 1,800 players?
that's the one we're talking about.
That's what I'm talking
Oh,
about. Like
yeah.
we were laying on the ground and rumble
I
in the
spaced
jungle,
out there.
just watching. What game were we playing? I forget. Was it the second or the third? But yeah, no,
Yeah.
we were just laying on the ground and our masks were just being covered in paint because of the snow of
Yep.
paint in the air. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
When I went and played those games, I'd still go out with like my sniper with a 50-round hopper on it. I just wouldn't carry any extra paint because like,
Yep.
what am
yeah.
I
I
going
had,
to
I had a mag
accomplish
fed gun
out
on
there?
there. He had nothing but single shot mag fed guns. That
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to turn the tide of the battle here. I'm just going out to experience this because it is a titanic amount of paint getting shot, and it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any
The whole day,
illusions
it's just
about what I'm
cha-ching,
going to do
cha-ching,
out there.
cha-ching, cha-ching,
Yeah.
Like,
cha-ching,
yeah.
cha-ching.
With the Wasaga games and all like that, like last year, I definitely feel like it was a lot harder to play, and I almost liked just being in the staging area almost, because I do like the whole I don't know how you'd call it, just the feeling.
Oh yeah,
the
just the social
Oh
atmosphere. of it
yeah,
all.
that's
Yeah.
that's
The atmosphere.
50% of the game. So,
Yeah.
you know what? The social atmosphere is 75% of the game. I mean, we're not on the field right now playing, are we?
Yeah.
With four paintballers having a social talk.
Also,
Miles away from
50%. 50% of going to Wasaga's big games was the free corn.
100%. I
So good.
love the free forward.
Oh, it's
That's
so
my
good.
favorite part.
My wife
Like
won't let me
5
talk about it
cops, then you
anymore.
go back to respawn.
I don't think my wife came to that. No, she didn't come to the last Sega. That was one of the ones she sat out. The last one I went to. I think I
Yeah.
might go this year though. I was kind of sitting on the fence about not playing a lot this year. But,
Yeah.
a couple people who will remain nameless really twisted my arm and were like, you know what, man, you got to, like, you have to play this year. This has to be a good year.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we're doing pretty good so far.
So yeah, your game was great. We went to yes,
New
that
York?
was amazing. 0 Hour was too much fun.
Yeah. And Sizzle's a comment too. Like, it is like Living Legends. Is that like you can go to Living Legends and you're not going to be effective on the field. You're just going to experience it.
Well, unless you're camping those slapsticks, then you're going to be very effective on the field if
Yeah.
you've got a chainsaw.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's the big thing there. Like, and the final part to mention as well is when you have so many people, the complaints that come from
Everyone.
the theories is that it's everything. Magfed, I know Magfed players that wipe. I know Speedball players that wipe. I know I've figured out one complaint I had from a PRZ game that I went to. Found out later, player didn't believe that gun hits count. Gun hits did count at that game, but
Okay.
at previous game,
miscommunication's huge. Man. That's
Exactly.
one of the biggest problems as a field runner or an event runner.
Yeah.
is miscommunication. It's because every time you run a safety briefing, not everybody's there,
yeah, exactly.
or people show up late.
It's hard, right?
Yeah. And because PRZ, like you said, is a very much of an anomaly of paintball fields, is that one weekend event to another weekend event, the rules can change
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because
Quite
it's
a bit.
different producers every weekend.
Exactly. So it happens, and I think that's my take really on it in the end. So, any final thoughts? No?
I'd like to call out Nate.
This was fun.
He gave us an angry.
What was it? Sorry, what was it about Nate?
No, he gave us an angry reaction on Facebook.
No, I believe it.
I wish you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, rather than just
And not talking, please. No, thank you. Because then it doesn't allow for fluid conversation, sir. Because, well, no, I find with Xbox Live, when I've got a good party of 4 or 5 people, you can actually you can tell people are delaying their responses, or they're just not responding altogether because their mic's muted and they forget it's muted.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes goes by and there's no Jamie. It's frustrating. It's just a matter of mic placement.
That happens. All right, cool. So, starting off with you, Ben, where can people find you and on the field and everything like that?
So are we just talking social media wise, or
This is the roll call at the end. Where's your shout-outs going?
shout out to
Hi, Mom.
yeah. No, my mom's my parents are in New York right now. They ditched me, so feeling the love right now.
Good.
But yeah, no. So yeah, as Tyler mentioned before, I run a small photography page, media design sort of thing. So I'm trying to grow that. It's I changed the handle recently. It's at Snapshot Media Designs. So I'm trying to get into more broad media production. So more video, website stuff, because it's what I'm going to college for, right? So that's it.
Lost the video feeds for a sec there. Sorry about that. And Jamie, where can people find you and or shoutouts?
Come find me at Sector 57 every weekend, friends. Paintball will be running until it snows. And I guess you can find me, or shoutouts to the entire crew I work with, basically, because,
Hi, Jake.
yeah, Jake especially, like Alex, Ryan, everyone else, Mike, Jonah. I'm probably forgetting people. I'm definitely forgetting people. But, like, my job could be really awful. Like, being a paintball ref can be an awful job, but it's really good because of the people I work with. Yeah, shout outs to those guys.
Awesome. And Jarvis, where's your
You can
shoutouts?
find me everywhere I am. Mr. NeroWulf on Instagram. I don't remember what it is, because NeroWulf brings you to my personal page, so don't do that. Remember when they first set up the link, you could make your own link, blah, blah, blah. It was before I even thought about doing a page. It was frustrating. So just NeroWulf brings you to my personal, so you can send me a request and I won't accept it. But send me messages. I'm always there.
Yeah.
That's all. So, shout outs to everybody who tried to make me laugh. You guys suck. I'm very disciplined, and I've been trained better.
There we go.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. As always, you can find TTP, or the Talking Tactical Podcast, on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. We're on SoundCloud. Search any of those places, just Talking Tactical, and you'll find us. If you missed part of the live video here, you don't want to watch it on Facebook, we'll also be on YouTube. Not seeing as much traffic there, but if you want to check out a live video feed, go ahead. Other than that, thanks so much, guys, for coming, and we'll all see you on the field.
Thank you very much. Take care.
See you.
Bye, guys. As well.
Bye.